Many years ago, in the city of Lagos, there lived a couple named Kola and Amina. They loved each other deeply and had been together for 15 years. They dated for 5 years and had been married for 10 years. Kola and Amina had a simple but happy home. Life was sweet and peaceful for them. They had 2 well-behaved children, a boy named Toby and a girl named Zora, who were the pride of their parents. The couple were hardworking people with a special arrangement at home. Kola, who worked as a taxi driver, had a flexible schedule, so he handled the school runs for the kids and helped with chores like cleaning, laundry, and small house tasks. Amina, the bank manager at a big bank, earned more, so she cooked large batches of jollof rice and stew on weekends and paid most of the bills. This system had worked perfectly for them since they got married. No fights, no stress. But one particular Easter holiday, everything changed. That Easter Friday, Amina came home from work feeling completely exhausted. She had spent the whole day in long meetings and writing reports at the bank. All she wanted was to rest, but she still had to make dinner for her family. When she opened the freezer, her heart sank. It was almost empty. The big pot of stew and jollof rice she cooked last weekend was all gone. With a tired sigh, she gathered the little ingredients left in the kitchen, some dried fish, a few tomatoes, and half a bottle of palm oil, and managed to make a quick pot of noodles with egg for dinner. That night, the family ate happily, laughing and talking as usual. After dinner, they all watched a Nollywood movie together until Kola helped Toby and Zora brush their teeth and tucked them into bed. Later, Kola and Amina stayed up, chatting about their day, sharing jokes, and even drinking a small glass of Chapman, their favorite drink, before finally going to sleep. But the next morning, Amina woke up feeling terrible. Her head was pounding, her body ached, and she could barely get out of bed. She was supposed to go to the market to buy food for Easter and the rest of the week, but she was too weak to move. Seeing how sick she was, Kola gently said, "Don't worry, my love. Just rest. I'll order food from Mom and Nkechi's restaurant instead." Since Amina needed to rest and take her medicine, she happily agreed to Kola's idea. Thank God, she thought. Ordering food would take a huge load off her shoulders. Then she remembered Sister Grace, a church member who lived just 2 streets away. Grace was a pretty, lively woman in her 30s who had recently started a small food delivery business. Amina had tasted her cooking at a church harvest party and loved it. Perfect, she said to herself. That morning, Amina called Grace and placed a big order. 3 bowls of stew, 2 pots of soup, a large tray of jollof rice, fried rice with chicken, some puff-puff and chin-chin for the kids. She sent the money immediately, and Grace promised the food would be ready in 2 hours. 2 hours later. Knock, knock. When Kola opened the door, Grace was standing there with the food, delivering it herself. "Sister Grace," Amina said, surprised. "You should have called. My husband would have picked it up. You didn't have to stress yourself." Grace just smiled and waved her hand. "Don't worry. I wanted to deliver it myself, and say hello to Toby and Zora." Grace smiled as she entered Amina's living room, accepting the cold malt drink. Amina didn't know she'd just welcomed trouble into her home. For years, Grace had secretly envied Amina. Amina had everything Grace wanted: a loving husband, sweet kids, a big house, and a great job. Grace's life was the opposite. Her food business barely survived. Some weeks she only sold 1 small plate of jollof rice for 2,500 naira. At 35, she lived in a tiny room, struggling to pay rent. As Grace sat on the expensive couch, her eyes scanned the room: the shiny TV, family photos, fancy furniture. Bitterness filled her heart. Why does Amina have it all while I have nothing, she thought. The more she looked around, the angrier she felt. Grace kept smiling at Amina, but inside, dark thoughts grew. She wanted what Amina had. She decided she would take it. Grace left Amina's house that day with a heavy heart. Every step felt like walking through thick mud. Seeing Amina's perfect family, sparkling house, and happy life made her feel like a total failure. Why is life so easy for her? Grace thought, biting her lip. I'm the one cooking for her now because Big Madam is too busy to cook for herself. That night, Grace tossed and turned in her small, stuffy room. The more she thought about her struggles: no money, No love, no success, the angrier she felt. Then, like a shadow creeping in, a dark idea whispered in her mind. What if Amina's happiness disappeared? The next morning, Grace woke up before dawn. She cooked like a woman possessed. Fried rice with extra veggies and chicken, pounded yam and egusi soup, small chops, spring rolls, samosas, and meat pies. She dressed in her best Ankara blouse, the one with bold gold patterns, and sprayed her sweetest perfume. Then, she packed the food neatly and marched straight to Amina's house. When Amina opened the door, her eyes widened. Grace, what's all this? Grace smiled, but her eyes were cold as ice. Happy Easter, sis. I brought special food for you and your family. Grace flashed a bright smile as she held out the food. I brought enough for everyone, let's celebrate together. Amina, unsuspecting, hugged her warmly. You're too kind. Come in, let's eat. That afternoon, the house was filled with laughter, plates clinking, and the aroma of spicy jollof rice. Grace even brought Chapman and Zobo drinks for the adults. As they ate, Grace suddenly sighed and dropped a bombshell. I was supposed to get married once, but my fiancé cheated with my best friend. Amina gasped, clutching her chest. Sister Grace, I'm so sorry. She held Grace's hand tightly. God will send you a better man, one who'll treat you like a queen. If only Amina knew. Grace's eyes kept darting to Kola as he played with the kids. Like a hawk eyeing a chick, she watched his every move, his smile, how he carried Zara on his shoulders, even the way he refilled Amina's drink without being asked. Amina, touched by Grace's honesty, shared her own love story. Kola and I met at Unilag. He was my chemistry lab partner, always mixing love potions instead of chemicals. She giggled, nudging Kola, who pretended to look innocent. Toby and Zora, usually shy with strangers, clung to Auntie Grace like glue. Amina beamed. See how they love you. You're part of the family now. As the sun set, Grace hugged everyone goodbye, her plan taking root in the darkness of her heart. By the end of Easter Sunday, Grace had washed every plate, scrubbed the kitchen until it sparkled, and even swept the balcony, despite Amina's protest. Auntie Grace, you've done too much. God bless you. Amina hugged her at the door. My home is always open to you. Anything you need, just tell me. Grace smiled sweetly. Thank you for having me. Your children are angels, and your home is perfect. As she walked away, Amina sighed. What a kind woman. But kindness wasn't Grace's mission. After Easter, life returned to normal, for everyone except Grace. She couldn't stop thinking about Kola's deep laughter when he played with the kids, the smell of Amina's expensive perfume in the air-conditioned rooms, the way their gold-framed family photos seemed to mock her empty life. I deserve this more than she does, Grace muttered, staring at her cracked phone screen in her tiny apartment. So she did the unthinkable. For the next week, Grace showed up at Amina's house daily, always when Amina was at work. Her strategy: kill them with kindness, literally. Mornings, she brought Kola breakfast, akara/pap or egg/toast. Eat well, Uncle Kola. Afternoons, she brought Toby and Zara jollof rice with big chicken. Growing kids need food. Kola thanked her. You're too kind. Grace smiled. Family should take care of family. But her smile was fake. Every evening when Amina returned from work, Toby and Zara would rush to her, excitedly chattering about Auntie Grace's delicious food. Mommy, Auntie Grace brought chicken and jollof rice today. It was so sweet, Zara would say, licking her fingers. At first, Amina felt grateful. She often called Grace to thank her. Sister Grace, my children won't stop talking about your food. But you'll spend all your money on us. Send your account number, let me send you something small. Grace would laugh. Don't worry, I cooked extra for my customers and packed some for the children. I'm sowing a seed into your home so God can bless me with my own good home too. Their laughter filled the phone calls. Amina never suspected Grace meant her home. Days passed, then weeks, then months. Grace kept coming, breakfast, lunch, dinner. She became a permanent shadow in Amina's house, always there when Amina wasn't. The children adored her. Kola appreciated her. And slowly, without anyone noticing, Grace stopped being a visitor and started acting like she belonged. One evening, Amina cooked dinner as usual, her special egusi soup and pounded yam. But when the family sat to eat, something was wrong. After one bite, Kola pushed his plate away. Toby and Zara made faces. Mommy, the food is not sweet, Zara said bluntly. Amina's heart dropped. Is it too salty? Too peppery? She asked, confused. Kola just sat silently, his face cold and unreadable. Amina tasted the food herself. It was perfect, just how her family always loved it. That's when she realized the terrible truth. Grace had taken over her kitchen completely. While Amina worked, Grace cooked every meal. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, all prepared by Grace's hands. Now when Amina cooked, her own family rejected her food. Worse still, Amina noticed how Grace had become the center of her home. The children ran to Grace with their stories. Kola smiled at Grace's jokes. They all looked to Grace like she was the real mother of the house. Amina stood in her own kitchen, holding a plate of untouched food, realizing too late that Grace hadn't been helping her family, she'd been stealing them. When Amina returned home early one day, she found Grace cooking in her kitchen again. Her family devoured the food eagerly, with Toby even licking his plate. But what broke Amina's heart was when Grace boldly asked to spend the night, and Kola violently defended her, slapping Amina when she objected. For months, things worsened. Kola and the children treated Amina like a stranger, while Grace took her place. One night, Kola beat Amina mercilessly and threw her out. She woke up in the hospital, broken in body and spirit. At her parents' house, Amina sought help from Pastor Femi. This isn't ordinary, he declared. He prescribed 7 days of intense prayer and anointed oil to break the demonic hold. On the third day of prayer, a miracle happened. Kola woke up as if from a trance, horrified to find Grace in his bed. "Where's my wife?" he shouted. The spell was broken. Kola rushed to Amina's parents' house, falling to his knees in tears. "Forgive me, I don't know what came over me." Amina embraced him, knowing Grace's dark magic had been responsible. When confronted, Grace confessed everything. "I went to a witch doctor. I put charms in their food to make them love me and hate you." Amina forgave but banished Grace forever.